Sonic CD, the sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog, releasing on the Sega CD or Mega CD in Japan, as an add-on to the Sega Genesis, and releasing on September 23, 1993, at least in Japan. In America, Sonic CD was released in November. Now, in contrast to Sonic 1's 24 million copies sold, Sonic CD only sold 1.5 million. This is due to it releasing on the Sega CD, an add-on to the Sega Genesis that already did not sell well. The Sega Genesis sold 30.75 million copies, while the Sega CD only sold 2.24 million copies. This was due to people thinking the Sega CD was not worth it. The Sega CD was made to play CDs, hence the name. CD stands for Compact Disc. It had a much faster CPU and graphics enhancements, such as sprite scaling and rotation. And it would also be able to play audio CDs and CD plus G, which stands for Compact Disc plus Graphics. But, onto why people thought it was not worth it. It was mainly due to the high launch price of the Mega CD in Japan. Third-party development suffered immensely because Sega took a long time to release software development kits and only had 2 games at launch. And Sega only released 5 games within the Sega CD's first year. So, it's easy to understand why a lot of people may not have played Sonic CD. And compared to Sonic 1's 23 ways to play, Sonic CD was only playable on the Sega CD, Windows, GameCube, iOS, Xbox 360, Steam, which was later removed, and Sonic Origins, which was why Sonic CD's Steam release was removed, which totals to there being currently 5 ways to play Sonic CD. But the game received critical acclaim from the people who did play it, saying it was better than Sonic 1, with an 82% on Metacritic and 8.5 on IGN, which is higher than what Sonic 1 received, and today we are going to see if Sonic CD is truly better than Sonic 1, or if it aged just as poorly. We are once again playing as Sonic, as he adventures to fight Dr. Robotnik, who this time is trying to conquer Little Planet, a planet that makes an annual trip to Sonic's world, and he is using the power of the new Time Stones to do it, and there are 7 in total. But this time there are 2 newcomers, that being Rosie the Rascal, later renamed to Amy Rose for reasons I don't have, and in this game, she is Sonic, but pink and wearing a dress. She was created to, quote, be the Minnie to Sonic's Mickey, as she is shown to have a huge crush on Sonic, from the artwork I can only assume Sonic does not agree. Then there is Metal Sonic, created by Dr. Robotnik as his greatest creation, matching Sonic's speed to defeat Sonic. And he does not have a lot of characterization in this game. He only appears twice, once in Collision Chaos to kidnap Amy, and another in Stardust Speedway to race him. But, in later games, he does get a lot more characterization. And this game takes place on Little Planet, as implied before. Eggman is using the Time Stones to build robot generators in the past to ensure the future is under his control, with Sonic having to create a good future in every single zone in order to get the best ending. Now, this time, we're going to talk about the special stages a lot earlier, due to how important they are in this game. And I forgot to mention how you get to the special stages in the last video. Lucky, it's the exact same in Sonic CD. You need to get to the goalpost while having 50 rings, then jump into the big ring. And Sonic CD's special stages are very unique compared to the other special stages in the series. In this, you are in a 3D area, you have a limited time, and you have to destroy the UFOs. You have to avoid water, as it drains your time much faster. Once you get to 20 seconds, a special UFO that gives you more time will appear, and there are springs, fans, and spikes that all do different things. Once destroying every UFO, you are rewarded with a time stone. There are 7 in total. But, unlike Sonic 1, there are multiple ways to get the good ending. In every zone, you can go to the past, and once in the past, you can roam around the levels to find 2 things. The Metal Sonic Projector, which does nothing for you if you destroy it, and the generator. This, if you destroy, will prevent Eggman from taking over the future, thus creating a good future in every zone. But I prefer getting the time stones rather than doing this, as this is much more annoying and time consuming, and they are mutually exclusive, as once you get all 7 time stones, it automatically destroys the generators in every act, making a good future in every zone without having you getting all the generators. The gameplay to this is very similar to Sonic 1, just with new abilities in the original release. You had the Spin Dash, which you can charge to gain a burst of speed and attack anything that you come into contact with. The Super Peel Out. This you can also charge to gain a burst of speed, but it's a much bigger burst of speed, but you don't deal damage when doing this. And I am still playing the Sonic Origins version, which also has the Drop Dash. Last time I went over the zones from best to worst and covered the bosses separately. This time I will be going from worst to best and cover the bosses within their respective zone. And this game follows the same zone formula as Sonic 1. First is my least favorite stage, and what I would say is this game's Labyrinth Zone. We are starting with Wacky Workbench. This zone is the main reason I do not prefer going after the generators. It has an industrial theme in the present and bad future, a canyon theme in the past, and an amusement park theme in the good future. This zone has one main gimmick that causes playing this zone to be incredibly annoying: the bouncy floors and the electrical conduits. Often you'll have to go forward through the bottom of the zone, but you keep getting bounced upwards and you have to get back down. It is an utter pain to go to the past in this zone due to it being hard to gain and keep momentum. And the badniks are Bada Pion, Minomusi, Pobi, and Semi, whom of which I did not see a lot because I was trying to get out of Wacky Workbench as fast as possible. The boss is the Egg Razor. Eggman boarding the Egg Razor flies upwards, destroying part of the ceiling, jump on the debris, and bounce up, avoiding the electrocuted floor. Do this 3 times and you win. It is an incredibly easy boss, which is a theme in this game. Remember last time when I mentioned Springyard Zone was Sonic 1's obligatory pinball zone? Well, this game has Collision Chaos, another obligatory pinball zone. Now, unlike Wacky Workbench, I do not hate this zone. I just don't like it either. Like I said in the last video, I am not fond of the pinball stages in Sonic games, and this one is no different. The badniks are Ga, Kama, and Tentao. The boss is the Egg Tilter. He sits at the top of a pinball arena, sending bombs at you. Play pinball to get to the top, and get to him, winning the fight. Next up is Quartz Quadrant, and I just don't remember anything about this zone. The theme is cool, being a crystal mining site. It's just I breezed through this zone in like 2 minutes. The badniks are Kemusi, Kumo, Noro, and Sasori. The boss is the Egg Conveyor, one of the more difficult bosses. Eggman is in a piston on a conveyor belt that leads to spikes, and Eggman drops bombs onto you that you have to avoid. You cannot hit Eggman yourself. You have to wait for friction to do its work and just outlast Eggman. Next up is the first zone I actively like, that being Tidal Tempest. Usually, in water stages in Sonic games, I just don't have a good time, such as Labyrinth Zone. But in Tidal Tempest, I actually had a lot of fun. The atmosphere is honestly very calming, the gimmicks are actually fun in my opinion, and unlike Labyrinth Zone, I could feel a sense of speed most of the time. The badniks are Amenbo, Taga, Tanbo, and Yago. The boss is the Egg Bubble, and this, in my opinion, is the worst boss in the game. Eggman sucks up a bunch of bubbles to use as a shield while trapping you underwater, while he sometimes shoots projectiles at you. And you must use your most powerful move of breathing to get rid of his shield, so you can hit him once and defeat him. The next zone is Palmtree Panic, the first zone in the game and what many people would call a Green Hill clone. But I personally prefer this over Green Hill Zone, and it has a much better design, I would say, and it's much longer and more fun. But really, due to it being the first stage, there's really nothing special to talk about. The badniks are Suntun, Moskwi, Patabata, Taga his introduction, and Tamabo. The boss is the Egg HVC-001. This boss is so easy, it's not even funny. Just get behind him before he spawns and hit him 3 times before he can even do anything. Next we have Stardust Speedway, the only zone Sega seems to remember. And this and Quartz Quadrant Zone are the only 2 zones to not have some sort of emotion or mentality in the name. And fun fact, all zones in this game have 2 words that start with the same letter. But back onto Stardust Speedway. And this stage is a very fun stage. When you can keep momentum going, it is so fun. But what's keeping it out of the number 1 spot is it's easy to get lost and not know where to go, or even just be hard to get out of a specific area. The badniks are Dongo, Otaru, Kabisira, and Kanaba. And then there's the reason Sega remembers this zone. Metal Sonic, whom I believe has the best boss fight in the game. It's not even really a boss fight, more so a race. You have to race Metal Sonic to the end and beat him in the race to save Amy. And you have to avoid Spikes and Metal Sonic himself along the way. And Eggman is falling behind with a death race. You have to go fast and never stop going fast. Then, finally, we have, in my opinion, the best stage in the game. And it's the final stage. That being Metallic Madness. I got to say, this is a massive step up from how difficult Scrap Brain Zone was. In this zone, we are running through Eggman's main base on Little Planet. It is a hard difficulty, but I would say it is fair, as unlike Scrap Brain Zone, I usually feel like it was my fault when I got hit, not just the game throwing random things I can't dodge at me. This zone also has the gimmick of a Shrink Ray, leading to some more unique level design. The badniks are Big Bomb, Dongo, he's back, Polby, Mechaboo, and Scarab. Now we are on to the final boss, the Egg Spinner. Eggman, with his Tetromino, spins, then crashes down on you. And like most other bosses, this is painfully easy. He only takes 4 hits, then he is done. Overall, unlike Sonic 1, I would say this game has better zones, as there is only one I actively dislike. In this video, we're adding a new segment, that being the music. And first of all, the music is utterly fantastic in this game. My personal favorites are Sonic Boom,
If you're strong, you can fly, you can reach the other side of the rainbow. It's alright, take a chance, 'cause there is no circumstance that you can't handle when you use your mind.
Stardust Speedway Bad Future, and Metallic Madness Bad Future. But one last fun fact about the video. The Japanese and American versions have different soundtracks. This is due to the American Sega division wanting a more musically rich and complex soundtrack. with a new theme song they can easily use to promote it. That being Sonic Boom. And personally, other than Sonic Boom, I prefer the Japanese soundtrack. Okay, now it's time to rank Sonic CD. Last time we ranked Sonic 1 with a 6. Now, Sonic CD, in my opinion, is a much better game. It has much better levels, with 1 I really dislike, and 2 I just don't care about. The other 4 I really enjoy. The Super Peel Out is a fantastic addition to Sonic's already pretty fun moveset. The special stages are really fun, the music is fantastic, and the only problem I found was that the bosses most of the time are way too easy. So with all of that, I give it an A tier.
Too easy!
A huge step up from Sonic 1 with better level design, a better moveset, and better special stages, but is held from S tier due to the bosses and a couple levels not being the best.
Supersonic flight, gotta keep it going.